big, beautiful bill, the big, beautiful bill. It's like a slur dressed in drag, a noose with a ribbon, a eulogy read by the executioner. It passed through the House while cameras clicked and donors clapped. We did the math, right? 863 billion slashed from Medicaid, 295 billion stolen from SNAP. But $1 trillion in tax cuts for the men who haven't cooked their own meals in over 20 years. This isn't policy, this is class warfare. They say, if you don't work, you don't eat. But what they mean is, if you're sick, starve. If you're disabled, disappear. If you're trans, die quietly. If you're undocumented, never exist. The cruelty is not a flaw. It's a feature. It always has been. America doesn't just reform, right? It remembers. It remembers plantation logic. It remembers sterilization wards. It remembers how to starve the people and call it fiscal responsibility. This bill is not beautiful. It is grotesque. It is economic eugenics. It is the culling of the poor, co-signed by cowards, marketed by monsters, and swallowed by a public too exhausted to scream. They said it's about freedom, but whose? Whose? Because my neighbor is going to lose her coverage for chemo, but Lockheed Martin's stock's going to go up. They're going to gut my daughter's lunch program, but Raytheon's going to get a bonus.
So this piece of shit bill is going to pass. Mark Wayne Mullen just put out a statement saying they have the votes. Now, what is it going to do? It's going to cost $4.5 trillion over the next decade, and it's going to add $3.3 trillion to the debt. That's bad. What's even worse is it's going to throw nearly 12 million people off of their health care. This is what the Republicans are doing. People are going to unalive from this bill. And I think, unfortunately, this is what it's going to take, because a lot of the red states are going to suffer the most. These poor red states where people rely heavily on government assistance and Medicaid, they're going to suffer. And this might be what it takes for people to turn against this regime. I hate to say an administration because it's a fascist regime. Yeah, it's going to get bad. It's going to get real bad. What are your thoughts? What do you guys think of the bill? What do you think of how Trump is spinning it, lying about it? He actually said last week at his stupid press conference, he said, if this bill doesn't pass, taxes are going to increase for every American by 68%. That's the kind of bullshit he's peddling in. But yeah, I think this is going to pass. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments.
Listen, we don't need to stress about this big, beautiful bill. And I don't even like to call it a big, beautiful bill, but that's what they're calling it. You know what I say about the Republicans and the GOP and the MAGAs that are all behind this big, beautiful bill that they want to pass? Let them pass the big, beautiful bill. Don't stress. Go out and have a swim. Go out and have a walk. Go to the movies. Enjoy your life. Don't stress about everything that this guy does. Don't. Because actually, we need to let them do the things that they want to do to show that it's going to be a huge failure. I'd love to be proven wrong. If the big, beautiful bill turned out to be a good thing, I'll eat crow. But I know I'm not going to. Because almost 12 million people are going to lose their health care, their health coverage. It's a fact. That's what's going to happen. And you want to know who probably some of the biggest candidates for that health insurance, the people who currently use it, are? MAGA. Republicans in red states. They use Medicaid. They're going to lose Medicaid in many, many of these places. We're going to add $3 trillion to our debt. It's a fact. All the economists say it. Don't argue with the MAGAs. Don't argue with the Republicans that that's not the case. Let it pass. Let the big, beautiful bill pass. Give them what they want. Because you know what's going to happen? That's the final nail in the coffin of the Republican Party. The GOP will be destroyed. They do this, it's like anything else. When a majority of the population is negatively affected by something, you're done. I famously like to say, remember George Bush Sr.? He only served one term. He was after Reagan. And the reason he served one term, he said he wasn't going to have any new taxes, no new taxes, and then bam, he increased taxes and they booted him. They booted him out of office. Let the Republicans, let MAGA, let them pass the big, beautiful bill. Let them, and let's sit back and watch. But actually, let's prepare, because this will be a breeze in 2026, the midterms. We're going to show them what we think of what they did, because we can always fix things later.
You know, sometimes when people talk, you just have to wonder, like, how do we get to this moment when people just to talk without doing research, without having any clear understanding? They just want to speak out because they have that Trump derangement syndrome. And they'll say anything against something that's probably going to benefit many. So I'm baffled. They drive me crazy. The Big Beautiful Bill, officially known as the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, is a sweeping piece of legislation that bundles tax reform, defense spending, and welfare policy changes into one massive package. Its impact on welfare programs like Medicaid and SNAP, which is food assistance, is significant and controversial. So I usually like to do research, and then I'll put down notes and type it in and so forth, so that I know what I'm talking about, because I don't want to, even though this is my perspective and there's going to be things I feel is right and wrong and people can challenge me on it, but I had to do some research. So, I wrote down some key points, like, for instance, the key welfare related provisions. Number one, Medicaid. It introduces stricter work requirements, limits retroactive coverage, and imposes new copays. Number two, SNAP, which is also food assistance. It maintains current funding levels but adds eligibility verification measures. And number three, Planned Parenthood and nonprofits. It cuts federal funding to certain providers, including Planned Parenthood. That's a big step for Planned Parenthood, and I know Planned Parenthood is going to fight it. They're going to say all kind of things to get, especially black people, to support them, because Planned Parenthood has black people in their back pocket, and we've aborted over 20 million babies, and we just continue to run straight to Planned Parenthood as if they're the savior of all. I get lost at this, but I digress. I put up some pros and cons, and I'm going to read the pros first, so you can see if what I'm saying is correct, or if these are good things for this new bill. So the pros: number one, it encourages workforce participation. This is very important. Supporters argue that work requirements for Medicaid promote self-sufficiency and reduce dependency on government aid. I believe that 100%, because especially not just blacks, but there's whites, Hispanics, so forth. We're so dependent on the government that we can't function without them. Like, we need that SNAP. We need a welfare check. We need Medicaid. We need all of that from the government, because we're not paying anything. Remember, the taxpayers are paying for you to sit home, have children, and receive free benefits. And it's to me, it's a very unfair situation, but that's how it is here, and we need to really address this and change it, because these are able-bodied people. They can get up and they can work. They can be productive in society. They can do things, but instead we have dumbed down people, black people, white people. So we dumb them down where they feel like this is all they have. This is all they need to survive. And then they file taxes. They don't work, but then they'll file taxes and get child credit. And I wouldn't give any of them any credit for when you haven't worked. You receive the money, but then you get child credit. Give me a break. And then the dads who go out there working, paying child support, they can't file anything. So they don't even get no child credit, but they have to work and they gotta pay that child support. but can't file, get child credit when the parent who sits home getting nothing and getting also, child support can file for child credit? Unfair. Okay. Number 2, targets fraud and abuse. Provisions aim to reduce improper payments and tighten eligibility, which could improve program integrity. I believe so. Improper payments, I need to look more into that, but what I think it is when people are getting like it's like benefits, benefits like the illegal immigrants, they're receiving Medicaid and so forth. So they're getting these benefits, they're getting the welfare check, and they're not even citizens. They are illegal. But so that's what reduce improper payments. They're number 1. They should not receive 10 cents. Number 3, fiscal savings. It cuts to Medicaid and other welfare related spending are intended to offset the cost of extending tax cuts and boosting defense spending. I'm taking this as with these cuts, with the cuts to Medicaid and other welfare programs, they can use that money and allocate it to military defense spending. Because remember, this country, in order to be the police of the world and have a strong military, for your military to be number 1, you have to spend money to get the best equipment, to get the best creators to create weapons and so forth. You have to spend money. So I think that's what this is about. Simplified tax code, that's number 4. By extending the 2017 tax cuts, the bill preserves a larger standard deduction and streamlined filing for many low and middle income families. So if you listen to the naysayer, they say that the low and middle class families won't be getting a tax cut. This is only for the ultra rich. That's the line that Democrats use, as this ultra rich. But in reality, the low and middle class, they're getting a tax cut, and they can now file taxes. It extends over, because if they don't pass a bill, the tax is going to go up by 68%. So this is important, and everybody will get a tax cut, including, yes, the ultra rich will get a tax cut, but so will the low and middle class family. So now I got 4 cons to mention. You tell me if you agree with these cons. Number 1, coverage losses. The Congressional Budget Office estimates that up to 16 million people could lose health insurance due to Medicaid changes. So the congressional budget is usually wrong on many occasions. They can just give you a rough estimate. They don't know. And most of the people that's going to lose coverage are, like I said, illegal immigrants, and some will be families that has taken advantage of the system, able bodies that can go out and work and pay into their coverage like hardworking people do, instead of letting the taxpayer pay for your health coverage and then you expecting it all the time. The government should not be in the business of paying for people's health benefits or welfare programs. The government should stay out of that. That should be a state issue, if you ask me, not the federal government. Number 2, disproportionate impact on vulnerable groups. Critics argue that work requirements and funding cuts disproportionately affect low-income families, seniors, and people with disabilities. So I think that's a good thing. And I'm going to tell you why I think this is a good thing. Low-income families stay low income when they're on welfare. They don't go up, they don't go down. Well, yeah, they don't go down or may go down, depending, but they don't go anywhere. So by them actually looking for a job and probably taking advantage of some of the job incentives like education, stock options, things like that, can help them to grow. So when you hear these black people talking about generational wealth, no, most of these people sitting on welfare, and so they can't expect to grow wealth because you're just sitting there on welfare. Maybe if you are working towards something, have ambitions, goals, and you work towards something, you can invest in yourself and your family, and then maybe you can start growing some form of wealth, whether it's buying a house or something. But that's what you should invest in yourself by working and not relying on the government. Number 3, ideological cuts. Defunding Planned Parenthood and similar organizations is seen by some as a politically motivated rather than fiscally necessary. I I would say, I can see it being somewhat politically. I'm not going to lie, because Planned Parenthood always donates to Democrats and not to conservatives, and Planned Parenthood does that because Democrats, they fund a lot of Democratic organizations. So I could see it seemed politically motivated. But at the same time, we're talking about, especially for blacks, over 20 million black babies were aborted since 1973 to now. And they use this thing as if this is this is a right. And I think that, like a driver's license, I think that they need to look at it in a different way. Like, healthcare should be something that we all towards, work hard, and you can pay into health benefits. Planned Parenthood has basically get money from the government to take care of low income families, and these low income families usually go in and they get abortions and so forth because they get these money. So the families that the person that's getting the abortion pay little to nothing to get an abortion, because then they use Medicaid or other things. I think now Planned Parenthood should reorganize so that if you're going to just take care of, like they say, just take care of women, maybe they should take care of women and men. And then they can expand their horizon by real health care issues. And then, abortion should be something that, is state controlled and depending on the situation, instead of just giving anybody an abortion just because they want it. Because what that does is it causes young girls to be very promiscuous, and and have a fallout, to run to Planned Parenthood and have an abortion. So I think this is something that is very important, and we really need to really reduce that funding, like, drastically. And number 4, administrative burden. Stricter eligibility checks may increase bureaucracy and delay access to benefits for those in need. I don't know. They say it's going to be increased bureaucracy. That's because I feel like it's going to be so much they have to do when they got to reduce numbers, find out who's eligible, things like that. Then it causes the people that really need it to be in a little delay. But I think that the government will have a way, I don't know if it's through hiring more people or so forth, to address those issues, the ones that's going to be removed off, or they need to investigate things like that. So I think that's what's going to happen. And I think so. The cons, to me, they're questionable. I mean, like, there's some things you can sit down and say, oh well, maybe. However, I don't think the cons outweigh the pros. And so I'm really supportive of this bill, and what it can do for working families, and addressing other issues like spending.
Big beautiful bill, Medicaid cuts. I'm for it, because I'm an able-bodied American citizen right now. I'm headed to work. I work at least 40 hours a week. I'm good with that. I'm not an immigrant that I can't prove my citizenship to get free benefits. I'm good with that. All these changes for Medicaid, y'all talking about people going to be losing so much Medicaid. What about us? We go to work every day. We took our kids to daycare. My kids take her kids to daycare so that she can go to work. People need to stop just getting free benefits. If you can go to work, you need to go to work. If you're here illegally, you need to become legal and then see if you qualify for benefits. And if you don't, then you don't get our benefits. In order to get those benefits, I'm glad that they're changing the eligibility requirement test or whatever to twice a year. That needs to happen because we're tired of paying for everybody. So Medicaid cuts, we're here for it.
Let's talk about Trump's big, beautiful bill. And let's be real, the only thing most Americans care about is how does it benefit us. Now, first, there have permanent tax cuts. The standard deduction stays double, meaning more of your paycheck stays in your pocket, lower tax rates for most people, and expanded child tax credit. Now up to $2,500 per kid. Overtime pay and tips, tax-free. If you're in hospitality, food service, or hourly work, this is a direct bump with no IRS cuts. Think about buying your first home. There's a $10,000 credit for that. Plus help with childcare costs and more support for family leave through your job. Are you a small business owner or content creator? Duh. You keep 20% of your pass-through deduction. And if you are a creator making under $100K, you get a $5,000 tax credit. There's also a $1,000 bonus for first-time retirement savers and higher IRA and 401k limits for working class earners. Now, love or hate the politics, that's on you. This bill is packed with benefits aimed at the middle class, workers, families, and content creators. So what do you think? Will this actually help the average American, or are you still on the fence about Trump's big, beautiful bill? Let me know your thoughts.
They keep saying that big, beautiful bill that just passed in the Senate, they keep saying that shit is for the wealthy. That is far from the truth. According to the Office of Economic Policy, the average American family stands to see over $10,000 a year in increased take-home pay. And they talking about the big, beautiful bill robs the poor to give to the rich. The bill is structured to increase the earned income tax credit and to reduce the payroll tax burdens on the working poor. Then the bill reduces inflationary pressures by cutting the deficit spendings and by encouraging domestic production. And someone made a claim that it is the most pro-family bill they ever seen in generations. It expands opportunity zones and it revitalizes forgotten communities. It raises the child tax credit to record levels. And it creates newborn saving accounts. And it eliminates tax on tips. And it eliminates tax on overtime. And we damn know for sure that the wealthy don't get tips and they don't get overtime. Then they were saying the bill was going to kick families off of Medicaid. Far from the truth. The bill strengthens Medicaid by requiring work for the able-bodied and ending coverage for illegals and rooting out all the fraud. There's a lot more shit in this bill, but y'all get the point. Like, that bill is not for the wealthy. That's why these wealthy politicians up there in the Senate and the House, they don't want no part of this bill. They like, man, what the hell is this? It's also stated that the bill will decrease the deficit by approximately $2 trillion by eliminating fraud, by eliminating waste, and also by eliminating growth choking regulations from the Biden administration. So there you have it.
So like I said, do your research and come to your own conclusion. I did mine and I support this bill. Like I said, it's not 100% to my liking, but it will prevent a 68% increase on your taxes. And it does cover a lot of things, especially reining in on these Medicaid or welfare that's going out to illegal immigrants and others who don't deserve it. I really don't feel like able-bodied people should have access to welfare. Have access to the classified section and get a job, man. Don't be sitting up there, just living off the government, letting taxpayers flip the bill for you, and you refuse to do anything. I played a video before of a girl, like I stated before, a girl who was on welfare from 18, had 4 kids. She's now 30 and don't know how to get a job. She probably wouldn't even know where to begin looking. And all she does is receive welfare. This is not how you grow wealth. This generational wealth, it's a ploy from the race hustlers and race baiters so that they can build their wealth while you're sitting up there thinking, oh, I'm going to get something one day. No, build, get a job, invest in yourself, invest in your surroundings, invest in your 401k, things like that. If you want to start your own business, get the education that you need and learn how to start your own business. But don't sit up here and have your hands out waiting for the government to give you. So you're going to crap on this bill because you see cuts where liberals aren't telling you that most of these cuts are from the illegal immigrants getting it because they were taking it away from you. So okay. Let me massage my temple because, like I said, sometimes these people just start talking without understanding what's going on. This is the fight against illegal immigrants and Democrats trying to bring in as many illegal immigrants as they can. And they're not bringing them in because they think that, this is going to be great for America. They're bringing it in because they know black population is growing nowhere. And while everybody else is coming through, they need to keep their base strong. So they're going to rely on the Hispanic, and these dumb black politicians are falling in line, and they're going to rely on the illegal immigrants to come in. They're going to just give them driver's license like they try to do and make them vote. They've been going against the Constitution for God knows how long, but they're going to try to make them vote, and then they can stay in power. And then the blacks who sit up there saying, yeah, the racists and blah, blah, this and that, are going to fall fourth in population. And then they're going to be sitting there like, what about us? When the Asian American population surpassed black population. And it's really sad that you guys, especially blacks, would sit down and crap on this bill without doing the research to see, you're saying about this ultra rich. Read the bill. No, it's such. Read the bill. Because you'll see that it's not about ultra rich. It gives tax cuts to everybody, but it also covers a lot of things because you want business to flourish here. That's how they hire more people. Okay. And then we could start, going over other things. Black men, instead of sitting up here crying about these bills and, black women they don't want to give black women worry about black men. Black men need to get together so that they can start fighting back. When women do it, they get what they want because women get together. But when men bring up that idea, other men don't want to do it. They're scared of something. I don't know. And so now you got child support. Women are going to get a $2,500 child credit. Though you know who else is going to get that? The ones who don't work, who get welfare. Is it fair that the men who pay child support to the women who sit at home and do nothing and have these kids and sit at home and do nothing, they collect that money along with the welfare that they get from taxpayers? That's wrong. So why don't men get together and start really fighting for some true justice instead of sitting up here crying about a bill that's going to probably do justice for a lot of people. All right? It makes me angry, man. But anyway, I'm about to sign off. I'm glad you guys were able to listen to my video. And also, yes, it is true. I don't use AI and I type up things and I get certain feedback and I'll post it up so I can read it. And then I give my feedback. It's all natural. It's me, so it comes from me. And I don't want to read from a script to let you think that, that this is me actually speaking to sound more intelligent than, no, I try to be me and to talk from a natural point, because when I talk this way, it relates to more people because this is how they feel. So sometimes you get so anxious and so, that, you start speaking, because these are true feelings. This is how we really express ourselves. And so, yes, no AI and nothing. It is all me. My background is real, and everything. And I post videos of things that I think supports my argument or are against my argument. But I'm real. This is real. And I'll never sell you short by using AI or writing up a script so that you would think that this is me, like sound like some college professor. No, it's me, because, and even though I do have a 4-year degree in political science, I try to speak from the heart. I try to keep it natural so that you can relate more to somebody I'm just an ordinary guy who gets stressed over certain dumb, stupid stuff. And so that's why I'm here. I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad to be creating these videos, and I hope to create a lot more. Guys, enjoy your evening, okay? Peace.